Okay, folks, so we are back, and we're with Lindy, who is the representative from one of my favorite foods. I'm going to put this down so I don't keep hitting you.
Oh, that's okay.
And Lindy works for Dogswell. And Dogswell, about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago?
Yes, about a year ago.
Decided to really go after a niche in the market and come out with another dog food. And we're in my Stafford Springs store, the new store. We have 600,000 different brands of dog food, and what the world did not need is another dog food.
Right.
However, the world did need what you guys came out with.
I agree, Dave.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you came out with?
Okay. This is Nutrisca. Nutrisca is actually a grain-free, potato-free, gluten-free food that we launched, like Dave said, a year ago, and it's doing phenomenal with dogs with diabetes. You say, why not potatoes? Actually, potatoes are really high on the glycemic index, so instead we switched it with chickpeas and peas. And the reason why is it's a lot lower on the glycemic index, and it's a higher source of protein as well. We have a salmon and chickpea variety, a lamb and chickpea, and a chicken and chickpea. And each ingredient is a little bit different on the three different proteins. Some have blueberries in it, some have cranberries in it, some have carrots in it. But the thing is that we've been having a lot of success stories. Again, the dogs that do have diabetes, I've had customers come up to me and say that their insulin has actually decreased, which I guess insulin for dogs is quite expensive. So some of the dogs have come off of it, and then other dogs, you know, have decreased it. It's highly palatable. I've had, with my dogs, you know, being in the dog food business, I'm always getting a lot of different samples.
Sure.
And, you know, you put it down and the dog kind of looks at you and they're like, okay, Mom, what do you have today? And when I put the Nutrisca down for them every day, they just gobble it up. So,
what kind of dogs you have?
I actually have 3 different kinds, so it's a mixture. Right. I have a long-haired dachshund.
Yep.
I have a miniature poodle, and I have a golden doodle. So they're small, medium,
so at least you have
and
one
large.
real dog there.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, one. If you can call a poodle / golden.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, there's still poodle in it, but I love my poodles.
But it's big.
But it's yes, he's about 90 pounds.
Yeah.
So he
so
definitely.
You feed all 3 of them.
All 3 of them Nutrisca. I do, and I give them the lamb and chickpea. For some reason, I mean, I kind of switch it up because I think it's good to have some sort of variety, but they really love the lamb and chickpea. And now we have a new Nutrisca freeze-dried, so they're getting a little bit spoiled. So I've been putting the freeze-dried on as a topper as well. And again, that's a grain-free, potato-free.
So let me just tell you, Lindy's here, she works for the company, but in my real world, you know, it's basically, I don't care what food you buy as long as you buy it from me.
Right.
So it's why would I push one food over another? And this is my 36th year doing this.
Wow, you look great.
Thanks. And I get tons of people who come in and their dogs have issues. Their dogs, obviously they're overweight, but diabetes is a huge issue.
This will actually help with weight management, because the potatoes, you know, end up they're not digesting like they should.
Yeah,
and
even
it
people. This is people too.
Right,
this
right.
Is anybody.
Anybody, exactly. Right. So this digests a lot better, and so it sustains their energy level, and it basically keeps the fat off of them.
Right.
You know,
right.
So it's actually been quite.
This is just my take on this deal. My take on this deal is. Nutrition for people and for animals is, as we learn a little bit more, is going to go away from what's available now more towards foods like this without the potatoes. Because, you know, God bless marketers. There's a lot of brands out there that think their food is great because it's grain-free. And I don't know, why is all of a sudden grains worse than potatoes?
Right, I don't know.
right?
Right.
So it's really marketing hype, so you don't get all excited if you see something that's grain-free. So if my favorite of the three, because there's three varieties, that you got chicken, is this one, and I may be wrong.
Okay.
But the reason that I like the salmon is the salmon has got to be higher in omega-3s and 6s.
Correct.
So I don't know if this works, and again, this works for humans. Omega-3s and 6s are anti-inflammatories. Just, it's proven, it's just like cigarettes cause cancer.
Right.
And anti-inflammatory omega-3s and 6s, which is why you should be taking fish oil capsules. So not only are you getting the low glycemic index,
Right.
but you're also getting the added
benefit,
right?
Definitely.
Now, I didn't even look at the ingredients. Is
Okay.
there, you're the expert, is there more omega-3s and in this one
the
than there
salmon,
isn't?
in the
There
other
is.
two, yes.
Right. So if I was doing this, if you were coming to me and saying, which one should I buy?
Right. The salmon.
The
The other
salmon?
thing too, the chicken and chickpea, obviously there's a lot of dogs out there that have chicken allergies
Yep.
or poultry allergies. And then lamb is kind of, some dogs like it, some dogs don't like it. But the fish, there's no chicken fat or any
Right.
source of chicken in it.
Smells.
It does have a
Smells.
little bit of a stinky smell
Yeah.
to it.
Smells like salmon,
It does. But
which means, duh, there's salmon in it.
yeah, and actually it's fresh Alaskan caught
Yep.
salmon. So
Well, that was the other point. This is the other reason why I like this, folks, because I see so many different brands read these labels. The first ingredient is salmon. Second ingredient is Menhendon fish meal, which is one of the greatest sources of fats and acids. Whenever you see that, and it's expensive. Whenever you see that in anybody's food, it's a very big deal because it's expensive. Then you have the peas and the chickpeas, and then you have salmon meal. Excuse me. The reason that that's important is when you have a whole meat or a whole fish, the salmon, it's a lot of water.
Right.
So a lot of marketing hype is they put whole fresh chicken or meat or salmon first ingredient, but there's really not that much because it's water. But then when you get the whole meat first and then you have salmon meal,
Right.
it means there is a lot of digestible salmon in this food. Huge deal.
very
right?
huge. Yes, I agree.
Right. Okay. So now that we got this part, the next thing is, let's say you get your dog on a diet like this, and it's time for treats. So I don't know if I'm wrong or not, but I tell all my customers, because this is what I do with my dogs, do not feed your dog treats that are biscuits
No
or any
biscuits,
kind
right.
of any of that stuff.
agree.
Because it is completely undone what you just did with the food. And my go-to treat for people is
Dogswell.
Dogswell.
Yay!
yes. And tell us about Dogswell.
Sure. Actually, we have quite a few benefits. That the whole thing about Dogswell is that every name, like Happy Hips, there's a benefit to it. It has
what I
glucosamine
use.
and control. Right.
Yes.
Wiggle,
Yeah, I
wiggle.
can't do that. I'll
no,
break 'em.
no. Oh, okay. 36 years before, you probably could.
Yeah.
The glucosamine and the chondroitin is great for dogs. Or larger breed dogs that might have problems with their hips and I want to
Joints.
say hips and thighs.
Yeah.
No. Hips and joints.
Yeah.
The other one that we have that's very popular is the Vitality, and that has flaxseed and vitamins in it. It's great to maintain or it's great for the eyes, the skin, and the coat. If you have a dog that might be a little bit antsy or excitable, Mellow Mutt is your go-to brand or your go-to benefit. There's natural ingredient. It's chamomile and lavender, and then there's added vitamin E on it.
And melatonin.
And melatonin, correct. And
A lot of melatonin.
and
And Valium.
Right. This, believe it or not, this particular brand or benefit is very popular around the 4th of July because of the fireworks.
Oh.
So yeah,
Right.
we see like a huge spike, or
Right.
the stores see a huge
Right.
spike around the
Right.
4th of
I
July.
never thought about that.
Yes.
Right.
The other thing we have is beef liver. So we have the chicken, we have beef liver, and we have the duck. Yes,
Yep.
the duck is great.
And you know what else we have, which I don't want to leave out?
Sweet potato.
That's what I want to talk about.
Yes.
Now, Lindy,
Yes.
Why is sweet potato better than regular potato?
Well, the sweet potato is better than regular potato because the glycemic index is a little bit
Way lower.
Way lower, yes.
Right.
So
I don't know if you ever, everyone should really do this. You ever go into Barnes and Noble and read the diet books and stuff by, or see this guy Joel, whatever his name is, on. It's my phone. Can you hear that? The dog barking. Let me put that away. Excuse me, my pants are barking.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I hate it. It's awful. Anyway, so they talk about the healthiest foods, and sweet potatoes are one of the healthiest foods that you can eat.
I love sweet potatoes.
So this is the other one that
This is actually great because the sweet potato lasts a little bit longer. I always say it's an alternative for rawhide.
Yep.
Not to, you know.
No, I hear it.
It's healthy, and I'm not really a big fan of rawhides. So I always say that this is definitely the go-to for a chewy, something that's going to last a little bit longer. And then again, if you have the dogs that have the poultry allergies, and you want to continue to feed dogs well because it has the benefits in it, this is definitely one to go to. We also have a lamb and rice as well.
Yes, and that one is
right here.
Somewhere. Yep.
And again, this doesn't have any poultry in it. And the nice thing about the lamb and rice stick is that if you have a smaller dog and they can't do, they have a hard time with chewing the jerkies, you can actually break off training treats.
Also great
yes,
for training treats.
For training as well. So,
right.
And it mixes it up as
so
well.
The other, I'm gonna put the sweet potatoes down, but my big deal, I don't care which one of the formulas that you buy. The big deal for me is, and it's very frustrating, that folks will come in here and they'll agonize over what food to feed. We finally get them to feed the right food,
right.
And then they go ruin everything that they did with the food by buying the treats because the treats look great.
Right.
You want to feed a treat that's not going to add, my thing is don't add calories.
Right.
So it's like Atkins. So I don't,
Yes.
if it's this, I don't care if it's, the Merrick bones, if it's the whatever, just protein. Just give them more, just give them more protein.
Our treats and Nutrisca are endorsed. Well, they have the seal from the Low Glycemic Institute, so that's something that is a huge deal. Yes, so definitely. And the other thing too that with the foods and the treats, they get 5 stars for
Dog Food Advisor.
Dog Food Advisor, yes.
Want to hear a funny story about him?
Yes.
We I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, Cindy and Jillian come in the office and say somebody keeps calling the office and asking us all these questions about
the food.
Our brand, the Dave's, right? And they're asking this and that, and like, what's your phosphorus level, what's your this or that. So finally, maybe a couple weeks later, I get a call from Mike Segman, the guy who runs it, Dog Food Advisor, who's a retired dentist. And he evidently lost his dog in the pet food when they had all the melamine, whatever it was in there. So he called and he said, I just want to tell you how nice your people are in your office. We just pestered them for 2 weeks straight and whatever, and he reviewed our food, and we got 4 and 5 star ratings and stuff. But it was like very sly,
Yeah, right. Yeah. But people, they go to it,
I know
they go to it, and
here's the only problem I have with it.
Okay.
The only problem I have is, as you know, you can look at a bag of Nutrisca, which I'm going to pick in any one of the real premium foods. Let's say 40 or 50 bucks a bag, right?
Right.
So you look at it and it says chicken meal, right? That's what he does. He'll put down first ingredient is chicken or chicken meal. Then you can go to Costco, or you can go into pick up another brand that's half the price, and the first ingredient is the same chicken or chicken meal. So what he doesn't take into consideration is the quality of the protein, because chicken meal, it's like steak. You can buy steak for $1.99 a pound, and you can buy steak for $20 a pound.
Yes, that's
but
some
on
nice
the
steak.
label, meanwhile on the label it says
steak.
So if you're an uneducated consumer, you can go and say, why is this bag $20 and this bag is $40? These guys, the $40 guys are ripping me off, right?
Right.
And they're not.
No.
And the government is part to blame because the government will not let you put down the quality of chicken on the label.
Oh, gotcha. Right.
So all pet food manufacturers have to go by the the standards of the labeling laws, but that's the only problem. So he'll rate. I mean, I've been doing this 36 years.
Right.
I know who makes what.
Yep.
I know the reputations of the plants where the stuff is made.
Right.
I know who's using
What
high-end stuff,
right.
and I know who's using low-end stuff. And some of the lower-end ones are getting the same ratings as your stuff because he looks at the label.
The label, gotcha.
And so what you really have to ask is with a salmon or a salmon meal is it low ash or not? I don't know if you know, when they cook the chicken, right? What's left of the chicken can be burnt, right? But that's still considered chicken meal. But all the vitamins and minerals are gone out of it, because it got burnt.
Right.
But they sell that as low-grade chicken meal.
Right.
Well, you put that in your food, and guess what you can call it? Chicken meal.
Oh, right.
As opposed to you guys, or what we do with our food is we buy the top grade and put it in the food. The lower the ash, the higher the digestibility. And what makes one food better than another is how digestible is the food, right?
Exactly, yes.
So that's the only thing with that. So did we take up like 4 or 5 minutes, Joe? Yes. So will you come do this again after?
I will. I loved it.
This wasn't too bad,
no,
right?
this was great.
We can show this to Ian.
Yes.
So her boss, Mr. Ian.
He actually said that we have something in common now because he was on the show when he was 18.
Right. So we've been doing, this is I think our 15th season maybe. So her boss, well actually
33.
I'm kind of proud of him.
Yeah,
of
he's
this.
like 33.
Actually, when he was at UMass, he was working in our store in Hadley, and he's now a muck in the pet industry, right?
Right. He's a director of sales.
Yeah, he's a director of sales, so it's very cool.
Yeah, it is.
So if you folks are looking for a job, you youngsters, if you start here, who knows where it'll take you. We have a few other ones that you can go into a post office and see their pictures on the wall. So you never know where it'll take you. All right, no. All right, don't go away, folks. Matt and I will be back in just a minute.